Before we get into this video, I want to drop a quick trigger warning that this video will talk about grooming, manipulation of minors, and mentions of self-harm. I'm not going to waste any of your time. I'm just immediately going to get into the evidence that I have been given and the evidence that has already been made public, and just talk about it and share it over with the YouTube community, because many people over here are not aware of this stuff, because SantiDevil has actively lied about it to his audience. So first thing I want to say is that the situation with the 16-year-old is not the only minor involved. There are younger people involved when Santi was even older. I'm not going to waste any time talking about the 16-year-old. If you don't know, Santi dated a 16-year-old when he was 19. This is not alleged. He confirmed this himself. So since he's already confirmed it, I'm not going to waste time talking about it. That's just information that's out there now. I personally don't think that that is an okay age gap, but I understand that it's been heavily debated the past couple of days. Regardless of how you want to feel about it, it is still illegal. But that's not what I'm here to share with you today. I have been in direct contact with people involved, both people that knew SantiDevil, people that were in servers with him, also people that were in relationships with him or were flirted with by him. I think the biggest development, and this is a actively developing situation, there is still more stuff being translated over, still more stuff coming out about this situation. What I do have right now is I have evidence that SantiDevil was in contact with a 14-year-old when he was either 19 or 20. And this is something that he's been known to do with multiple victims. He's admitted to doing this emotional manipulation, and also we're learning about financial manipulation that he's been using. He's already admitted to doing this, so this is also not alleged. And there's a lot of proof of this as well. I have more proof of it as well, of him doing it to a 14-year-old. This manipulation, trying to make his victims feel bad so they'll date him, guilt-tripping them through him talking about suicide and self-harm. This is something he's still actively doing now. So this was in 2021. This person he was talking to was 14, and in 2021 he would have been either 19 or 20, depending on how close his birthday was. Either way, that is not an okay age gap. I think most of us can agree on that. So he says, because I want to die, my family gave me medicine and I'm not taking it. I don't care about it now. Today I was looking at a picture of you and I started crying. Like, why? I never cried for a girl pic before. Now it's like just hurting me a lot and I want this to end already. Information that just came out. Again, this is actively developing situation. We're still finding out new things. SantiDevil was DM'd just like a few hours ago by someone. SantiDevil was not even asked about the 14-year-old. He just brought it up. He says the one from the 14-year-old, I don't remember she had 14. I'm assuming he's saying I don't remember her being 14. If I remember correctly, I liked that girl because she was a good friend. One of her friends even tried to get us closer, but I told her that I didn't like her because of her age. In the end, I never went out with her, but the truth is that I don't remember her age very well before. I find that hard to believe, considering SantiDevil is now known to have dated a 15-year-old at 18, which I will talk about that in a minute, and a 16-year-old at 19. He's already justified these types of relationships by saying it's normal in his culture. Here's a screenshot showing some of his close friends talking about the 14-year-old. Here's another statement from that person that was 14. I think I'll also begin to talk to him less and less now. He makes me anxious. I told him to get help and I want him to try to get better. He tells me he wants to die and then doesn't reply. Santi's claiming that he didn't know how old this person was. I find that hard to believe. Here I have another screenshot of Santi saying love has no age, and the person that he told it to, I'm going to read their statement. When it comes to the love has no age, I was the person he told it to. However, it's important to note I am not a minor. However, we should not brush over him saying that since there's clearly a deeper meaning. I will say the 14-year-old girl, Santi was talking to and flirting with while he was in a relationship. Santi never directly answered how old she was until I brought her up to other friends, which just seems strange to me. You're claiming you didn't know she was 14, but then when your friends had asked you back then when the situation was going on, you never told them how old she was. It seems to me like you might have known. Anytime I'd ask Santi would turn it around saying she makes him happy. He had the habit of making himself the victim and saying his girlfriend was terrible and abusive and that this minor is his happiness. But considering there's multiple people coming up talking about this situation, and then Santi himself directly confirmed it in that screenshot from earlier today, I personally believe the victims here. I think there's enough evidence piling up. There's multiple people coming up that aren't even involved with each other saying the same things. So I honestly believe them. Now I'm going to read the statement from the 15-year-old, and this is also involving some of Santi's old friends. Again, a lot of these people are coming up individually and giving their statements about this situation, and none of these people are involved with each other, and yet they're all saying the same things. So I am under the impression they are telling the truth. So my friend was friends with Santi back in 2021. They were in a server with him where they would prey on kids, basically. Santi is still in contact with one of these people that he met when this person was 15 and he was 18. And from this person, he's a terrible person. He also asked me to be in a relationship. And then they confirmed that they were 15. And doing the math on this situation, Santi would have been 18 at the time. And I also don't think that's an okay relationship. 15 and 18, you're at two different stages of life. And I just can't get behind that. I was 15. He was constantly telling me he wanted to die. I didn't realize at the time, but from what I remember, what he did to me was shit. So again, this is two different victims telling the same story, because the 14-year-old, we have a screenshot of that situation from this 14-year-old being suicide baited and manipulated. And this 15-year-old is also saying that that happened to them as well. Santi has also confirmed that he did threaten self-harm and suicide in some of his ex's DMs, but he's never mentioned how old some of these people were. I also got into contact with this person, and I have their statement. So I was 15 at the time, and he wasn't a YouTuber at that point. He wasn't a YouTuber back then. I met him through my friend, and we started talking. At that point, he would share a lot about how his current girlfriend at the time hurt him, and also a lot about how he was suicidal and overall a lot of negative energy about how bad of a person he was. I was young and didn't understand a lot, but I knew to be nice and tried to comfort him, and I was more and more guilt-tripped into trying to help him. But he never changed, and more after that, he started asking me to be his romantic partner. After that, he went back to his girlfriend. And then they confirmed this happened 5 years ago in 2020, which would have made SantiDevil 18, while this person had been 15. So that is multiple people coming up saying that SantiDevil approached minors first when he was an adult and emotionally manipulated them through talking about suicide and self-harm to try to get them to be in a relationship with him. Other exes have spoken up about this, but some of them do not want to be involved in the situation, so I'm not going to bring that up against them. I'm just giving what I've been allowed to share for right now. And again, this is a developing situation. There's still more people coming up about this. There's still more screenshots being translated over, because a lot of this is stemming from the Spanish-speaking side of the community. But he is actively guilt-tripping and suicide baiting minors that I'm under the impression he knew they were minors. I also want to share some additional screenshots of SantiDevil just not taking this situation seriously. Also the fact that he's already been caught lying about this situation. Originally, he tried to pass this off as just being rage bait, and most people initially believed him because there are a lot of rage baiters that were already making videos about SantiDevil. And this is precisely what I said in my rage bait video, that people make so much rage bait that when a situation actually does come up, nobody's going to believe it because people are just going to automatically assume it's rage bait. And that's what happened here. SantiDevil actively lied in that live stream that this was rage bait, because it's not. There's evidence. There's a mountain of evidence piling up. More of it's still piling up. And again, I'm just going over what I've been allowed to go over. I also want to just quickly mention, with his addressing the rumors video, again, I'm not going to talk about that situation because most people already know about that, but something that just came off really off to me was that he got this person, the 16-year-old in question, he got this person to testify for him, which, if you're being accused of grooming, which is manipulation of a minor, having that person come up and testify is not going to clear your name at all, because you're already being manipulated, you're already being accused of manipulating that person to begin with. So their statement means nothing when you could possibly still be manipulating them. And victims of grooming often don't know that it was grooming until years after the fact. There's also mentions of financial abuse involved, but since there is no evidence of this, I'm not going to dwell too long on that. But I do believe that this person is telling the truth. It's just that I don't have any information to share, and I know people are not going to believe me unless I have evidence. I urge everyone to just keep an eye on this situation. So next I want to talk about parasocial behavior I'm honestly going to make an entire video just on that, probably, because the response the community has given to this situation has been so disappointing and disgusting. So many people blindly jump to defend this guy when these are serious allegations. You should have at the very least looked into them yourselves. You're just reinforcing the parasocial behavior. But the thing is, I'm under the impression that SantiDevil has purposely cultivated a parasocial audience. If you think about it, the people that SantiDevil goes against are minors in his community. His fans are so parasocial, it's downright cultish behavior. He knows people are not going to say no to him. He knows people are going to be afraid to speak out against him because his fans actively go out and harass people that do. I have personally been a victim of this. Back in September 2024, there was a very unserious situation. SantiDevil made a video about me emoting. Even though it wasn't me emoting, he still got mad at me and then called me toxic. I immediately made a video defending myself, and his fans jumped in my comments and were harassing me, telling me to kill myself. I actually still have this video. I have it privated. I'm thinking about unprivating it just to prove my point that entire comment section is filled with his fans just saying really horrible things to me, just as further reinforcement that SantiDevil allows his fans to do this. He does not call them out on this. He did not call them out on it when it originally happened. I even brought up this situation in my misogyny video. Many other content creators have expressed being uncomfortable with parasocial audiences, or at the very least tried to denounce parasocial behavior. SantiDevil has never done that. I'm under the impression that he's done it. He's cultivated his audience to be like that on purpose because it suits him. He knows that as long as his fans are like this, they will actively go against anyone who tries to bring up these accusations and shut them down, which is what he's done for several years now, which is why we were just now finding out about this information recently. Some of his exes have also talked about this. His fans have went after them and pretty much just shut them up about anything they had to say against SantiDevil. I also want to apologize to the Spanish-speaking side of the community. Just in general, just apologize to them. They've been shut down by the English-speaking side of the community about this for years now. I'm sorry that nobody took this seriously. I had no idea about most of this stuff. I don't think many people did. SantiDevil's fans, some of them did, and instead of looking into it, they just shut these people up. They harass these people. It's just very telling that SantiDevil has never spoken out against his audience being like that. It always rubbed me the wrong way. That's why I brought it up in my video. I never thought he might have been doing it on purpose. Again, this is a developing situation. It's actively still developing. Any information you may have, if you'd like to DM me on Discord, it's Tracy Bunn. If you'd like to talk to me about any of this, if you would like additional information, I can give you what I have. It's just, I'm probably going to make more videos talking about this, especially the community's response to it, because a lot of us failed. I just want you to be aware that SantiDevil is not the person that you think he is, and to actively look into this situation on your own, because many people are refusing to even believe that this is happening right now. Especially people in his audience. I understand I'm probably going to get hate for this video, but there's just too much evidence piling up for me to ignore it as someone with a platform, especially as someone that just made a video defending him. Obviously that was not for this situation, and I had no idea about this situation when I made that video. It was just very poorly timed video on my part. This is what I have so far. Please do research into this on your own as well. If you still support SantiDevil, I do not think he deserves a platform anymore, because there are several minors involved now that we know of, and there's more coming out, and possibly more involved as well. We don't know how many exes he had, or just people that he tried to get with. I'd like Santi to address this, because it is telling that he only addressed the stuff that he got caught for, instead of just talking about everything. This is all I have to say about this so far. I'm really disappointed and disgusted, not just with SantiDevil, but the community's response to this has not been great. Please stay tuned for any updates. Do research into this on your own as well, please.